Let's go. It's time to check out the most aggravating, loathsome, repugnant, noxious, barbaric, fury-inducing characters in cartoon history. Some of these characters haunt the memories of our childhood and terrorize the people of today with their mere presence on television. These animated characters are so downright offensive that they actually manage to lower the quality of life of those watching them. So, we're gonna check them out today. So let's dive right into the top 10 worst cartoon characters of all time. And as always, if you do like these characters, that's great. It's just my silly personal opinion, and I'm glad you can enjoy these characters when I can't. So take this list with a pinch of salt. Anyway, on to the countdown. Number 10. Angelica from Rugrats, aka Satanica. Ugh. Has there ever truly been a more annoying little brat than this little twerp?
I didn't do it. It was Tommy. Tommy and the babies.
I know we're meant to dislike her, but the creators managed to make her so detestable that just seeing Angelica makes me become so overwhelmed with unbridled fury that I go into crazy ape mode.
That's it. Get back there or you're not playing Lemonade anymore.
How can a girl who bullies kids who can't even walk yet possibly be any more dislikable? I remember losing my appetite for cookies after watching Angelica. For years, I just felt like a gluttonous, greedy bad guy whenever I ate them. You know you botched up your character design a bit when your cartoon characters are so loathed that you cause early onset eating disorders in 7-year-olds. It took me 15 years before I could watch this otherwise excellent cartoon again. And frankly, I blame Satanica. And for number 9, Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Ah, Foster's Home. What an innocent, charming little piece of childhood. Except for one big, blue, gunky problem standing in its way. Blue is just an unredeemable, fury-inducing train wreck of a character. Wikipedia defines Blue's personality as a manipulative, self-centered, immature, abrasive, narcissistic maniac. And that was the nice version. Even Wikipedia can't be neutral about this waste of network space. Blue was such a nefarious little ball of animosity that he actually dramatically lowered the quality of the cartoon for me. I never watched Foster's Home that much, mainly because of the foul taste Blue left on the show. When he wasn't trying to swindle his friends out of their money.
How much you got? I got a 5. Gimme.
He was putting the entire household in danger with his insane ideas. Bendy was technically worse, but at least he was only in one episode. Blue's the main freaking character of the show. Personally, if I ever find this blue pile of gunk on the back of my shoe, I'm scraping it off because I just stepped in something nasty. And for number 8, Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. Some people say that all the SpongeBob characters have gotten worse as the SpongeBob series has gone on. But in my opinion, Mr. Krabs has been a greedy, money-obsessed, carnivorous monster the whole time. For nearly 2 decades, this crab has exploited one of the nicest, most positive-thinking cartoon characters ever created into slave labor. He takes no consideration for anyone, including his own daughter, unless cold hard cash is involved. Krabs is just one big lesson in the dangers of obsessing over financial gain. He laughs in the face of his slowly dying competitor and exploits all the fish people in the ocean with fast food that can literally make their thighs explode. Krabs is every heartless, detached CEO that has ever squelched the dreams and hopes of his fellow fish. Number 7. Brainy Smurf.
Do the brainy. Do the brainy.
Ugh. If any cartoon character makes the village idiot sound like an appealing job, it's Brainy Smurf. Thanks to this dreadful little speck of narcissism, I don't have any memories of Smurfs when I was a kid. Just anger-filled flashes of Brainy Smurf's nasally voice as he lectures to an entire village over how incredibly smart he is.
As Papa Smurf's personal assistant, I know best.
He's called the village intellectual, but I don't ever remember him actually doing anything smart. In fact, most of the time he botches up the village plans terribly and sends the entire Smurf village into disaster. Yet, somehow, the village seems to like and respect him.
Oh, I miss the old Brainy.
Why? Despite the fact that this guy is even more egocentric than Vanity Smurf. His name is Vanity. His entire character is that he stares in a mirror. Even when you read the Smurf Encyclopedia, they openly state Brainy Smurf serves no purpose to the story, except being a nuisance. In other words, even the creators of the Smurfs hated this Smurf. He's definitely one of the worst characters. And the sixth worst cartoon character is Johnny from Johnny Test. Johnny is simply an anomaly of nature. By his very existence, he demeans every millennial who is unfortunate enough to watch him. Johnny is just a farting, sneering, walking bullseye. He's self-entitled, narcissistic, and his hair is so obnoxiously bright that I imagine it causes seizures. His presence has all the charm of an autopsy, and his entire existence seems to be one big vain attempt to appeal to the youths.
When was the last time you cleaned your room?
There was no last time.
I've never quite figured out if the youths consider him as much of a pandering, exasperating blockhead as I do. But every time I see Johnny sneer, I just feel like he's demeaning the entire millennial generation. He is a hero that literally farts on the bad guys to drive them back. I don't think I even have the mental capacity to find a stupider way to fight. This kid gives millennials an unfair bad name.
We'll see about that. To the lab!
And for number 5, Alan Gregory from Alan Gregory. Many of us have seen the stereotype of the pretentious, overprivileged rich boy before. Characters like Richie Rich, that sort of thing. But the creators of this cartoon said, lightweights. We can do real pretentious. Let's concentrate that pretentiousness into a fine laser that could cause savage desk-throwing fury in Gandhi himself.
But then I realized how selfish I was being. How unfair it would be to deprive you of me winning this award. Does that make sense? Anyway, back to me.
The entire premise of this abysmal cartoon he starred in was to look down at the other 99.9% of the population. What a spectacular idea! Next, why don't we create a duck shooting show for the Animal Rights Channel? If you can watch more than 10 minutes of this snooty, overconfident dweeb without slamming your fist through your monitor, then you have my respect. And for number 4, Scrappy Doo. I've never met anyone who actually likes Scrappy Doo.
I hope I see a ghost. I'll flatten his sheets.
And when I say everyone, I do mean everyone. The creators themselves hated their own creation so much that they made him the villain in the live-action movie. This seems like another case where the writers were purposely trying to sabotage the cartoon series and send it down the toilet. He was defenseless, yet always picking fights. And every word he said seemed to make taxidermy seem more appealing.
Put him up, you test tube creepy.
He was characterized by being an extreme egomaniac that threw the whole gang in front of danger constantly. And that was actually about it. Scrappy Doo was added to the cartoon as a sad, desperate attempt to restore Scooby's ratings when the show was on its last legs. They followed this up with, the Scooby and Scrappy Doo Show. Because, you know, torturing your audience is fun. Just once. Just once. Couldn't they have let Scrappy actually face the monsters? Let the 1-foot-tall puppy take on the 7-foot monster. Chances are afterwards he won't be trying it again. And the third worst cartoon character is Peter and Brian Griffin. I can manage to tolerate a lot of things about Family Guy. I can tolerate the empty, nauseating shock humor, the mean-spirited, foul jokes, and the endless celebrity references. But I just can't tolerate Peter and Brian. These two are just pure hateful characters, with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Many may disagree with me on this choice, but personally, Peter and Brian were the first characters I thought of when I made this list.
Yes, I am that Brian Griffin. You probably have my novel. You have my novel, right?
Peter was made to hide around the premise of being quote-unquote retarded. But Seth can't even write an intellectually challenged character nowadays. An intellectually challenged person isn't capable of being so intelligently sadistic as Peter. Peter is just an unapologetically cruel, neglectful, and outright evil character. He attacks his friends, he abuses his children, he abuses his wife. Peter is an outright insult to intellectually challenged people. And the fan fury behind Brian's character nowadays is almost comical to see. People now hate Brian so much that the general fan consensus is that the main highlight of the new episodes is when they see him in pain. If it didn't feel so much like Brian was a direct soapbox for Seth's arrogant, self-indulgent agendas, he might be slightly more tolerable. But now, every time Brian opens his mouth, I just end up disliking him even more. And even when he's meant to be nice, he's so painfully transparent, shallow, and openly exploitative of others that it's always cringeworthy to watch. These two manage to rot those around them with their mere presence. And for number 2... The Annoying Orange, from CN's High Fructose Adventures of Annoying Orange.
Can I call you Cindy for short? You said your name was Broccoli.
Can I even call this detestable CG live-action abomination a cartoon? It was on Cartoon Network, so I guess it is. Watching Annoying Orange is just pure torment. Is there any part of Annoying Orange that doesn't offend human sensation? This character looks butt ugly. It sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard. Hell, Annoying Orange is so detestable that it smells bad. Its mere existence is so nauseating that it gives fruit in general a bad name. Apples and oranges are among my favorite snacks. Yet now all I see are those foul, beady little eyes while hearing that detestable shrill voice. So now, I always slice my oranges into 9 sharp pieces, just to make sure it doesn't start squealing at me to like and subscribe to it. Every single moment this beastly, horrific piece of produce is on screen, I feel another surge of fury through my soul. I can safely say that I want to eviscerate the entire local fruit market after watching 5 minutes of this thing. Annoying Orange as a character and as a cartoon is pure, uncontrolled torment. And before we descend into the pits of number 1, I'd like to give a couple of quick dishonorable mentions. Breadwinners, Sway, and Badoose. Undisputed winners of the stupidest name in the world contest. The only reason these two aren't on the list is because I've already talked about them 3 times, including in my worst cartoons of all time. And I imagine you're as sick of these 2 ducks as I am. It is truly the dawn of a better day, with these 2 ducks cancelled. Snarf from Thundercats. Ronaldo from Steven Universe. The bane of Steven Universe. Thank Atheismo Rebecca Sugar stopped giving him screen time. Lemon Grab.
Unacceptable! Unacceptable!
Imagine a character specifically designed to speak all the wrong inflections and to be intolerably annoying in every manner possible. A character who squeals his sentences rather than talks. Mercifully, we only have to tolerate this strange, yellow, confused fusspot for a couple of episodes. Modern SpongeBob Patrick. Interestingly, Modern Patrick is absolutely hated by a great deal of the community now. Patrick was actually recommended for this list more than any other character. I admit he's become a jerk in later seasons, but my main defense for choosing Krabs over him was that Krabs has just been a bad apple from the start. But Patrick certainly gets a dishonorable mention. DW from Arthur. I think I missed the age group for Arthur a fair bit because even as a kid, it was just a little too wholesome for me. but I didn't hate it or anything. But DW.
And we will practice the scene until we get it right.
This irritating little lass just stuck in my head. Sadly, whenever I think Arthur, I just think of how annoying DW was. Interesting side fact, did you know that there was 19 freaking seasons of this show? Jeebus. And it is still going. After 19 freaking years, how is this strange little aardvark still 8 years old? That troll from Troll in Central Park. Oh, I will not feed this troll. Davy from 8 Crazy Nights. Take all the most obnoxious, crude, annoying characteristics of Adam Sandler's films, and then mesh those into one vile, irredeemable character. Anyway, here we go. Just a note for this final choice, we're gonna have to venture to some very dark territory. I'll be honest, it's a place I never wanted to visit again as long as I lived. Oh yes, the #1 worst cartoon character is Ren from Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon. There is no other choice. Ren truly is the most vile, repugnant, despicable creature to ever defile animation history. This cartoon was so bad, in fact, that the original voice actor for Stimpy outright refused to voice him again. Because the voice actor for Stimpy thought the cartoon was too revolting. The guy who eats his own stomach acids. And ever since I first saw Ren Seeks Help, I completely understood why. Ren in Adult Party Cartoon is just about every horrible aspect of humanity. This character is like a black hole that all comedy, all clever humor is sucked into. We watched Ren grow up, relishing with glee in watching the suffering of living things, eventually discovering he doesn't want to kill them, because that would end their suffering, leading to his slow growth into an abusive partner. Eventually, Ren breaks down into an even more animalistic state with truly no mental functioning beyond a wild beast with a desire to kill, amputating and clawing his way to a slow end of caging and isolation. How do you top that? How do we drop the bar any lower? The bar is so low now that it swung through the center of the earth and broke through to China. If you've seen A Clockwork Orange, you probably know that a sadist character can be done artistically, thoughtfully, and almost beautifully. There is nothing wrong with an insightful look into our more barbaric sides, but there is nothing intelligent, clever, or even remotely insightful about Ren. I still feel the bile rising from the back of my throat when I see footage of this thing. Ren from Adult Party Cartoon is the embodiment of everything that has ever been wrong in cartoon characters. Past, present, and I'm gonna hope future. I don't know who came up with this character, and I don't think I want to know. There is nothing pleasant about watching him. Not a comfortable, even slightly relatable thing about him. Ren is rotten to the core, and I consider him easily the worst cartoon character of all time. But despite these cartoons existing, many of them might as well not exist. Most of these characters are over a decade old, and nowadays I'm blown away by how likable and relatable new cartoons are making their characters. Even the lousiest of teen sitcoms have characters that are leagues more likable than these guys, and I'm glad to see cartoons always improving for new generations. Do you think I missed a particular character? There's such a wide variety of cartoons out there, I'd be amazed if I didn't miss at least a few. So feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.